as I move into this last chapter, and I still have all these ideas of things I want to do and this, but a little bit more forward thinking with all of the torch that's being passed on. I see that stronger now than I've ever seen that. I don't know if that's good or sad, or I think academia probably has a lot of growth and could happen in the next few years. You never know. We're breaking more than we're helping push forward. Everybody hits walls.
Yes.
If there's somebody who doesn't hit a wall, I get worried.
Yeah,
actually, this goes back to when I was going way back, when I was apparently 2 or 3. I told my mother, if you're good too long, you bust. I stand by that.
If you're
good too long, you bust. Yes. Yeah. I mean, we need things that. So yeah, I mean,
from Einstein.
Exactly. So around the world, if we could, the idea that there are people who we never discover, we never find, they never find a way to, and whether it's from their ability to play piano or to develop mathematical equations or to understand something in social sciences, that loss as I personally don't think of it as like countries anymore to a certain extent. I really think of it as we're a world. Yeah, we're a globe. So what we are missing out by not having systems that make that education possible is such a loss. So it's not that I'm only looking for Einsteins, and I'm just like you obviously we all are in our own way, right? Yes. But it's that I get to meet these amazing people who have this passion for learning and have this potential and this spark, and the fact that I'm able to facilitate them having the opportunity to pursue that. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, that's an honor. It really is. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. And that's really true. Another side of that is, the global issue with access to countries, to other places and all of that, passport strength. I know a lot of people from the global south who are trying to go in for conference, like who get invited to conferences, literally invited, but they just couldn't get a visa. So, and just a lot of things, but that's always been there. Maybe what do you think about all of the structural issues?
I think that, as with anything, if you look throughout history and humankind, there are ups, there are times of beautiful building and growth and, wars, and then there are times where things are really rough and really, really dark and horrible and bad times that, and it ebbs and flows, and I'll say that not to sound cavalier about it. Yeah. But anytime that we find ourselves in a position where we're like, this is horrific, right? We're in this, I can't believe how bad this is right now. And if you think back to 5, 10 years, whatever the time period that you can look back to as, that was pretty amazing. That shows you it changed. It changed quickly, right?
Right.
That means it has the capacity, and it will, in reality, change again. Yeah. So what it takes is people not losing hope and sticking with it. And it will change. Yeah. It will change again.
Yeah. Can you say a word of encouragement to somebody who is probably watching this in a far remote part of the world somewhere? Like, I want to be like her. I want also have this success she has.
Okay, that was not fair. That was very...
Yeah, no, it's okay. You didn't want to know what I was going to say, but what would you say to that kind of person?
Yeah, well, honestly, I still say do it. But without, I know it's not easy. I can only imagine. I probably don't even understand. And I do understand the privilege that I had with my parents.
Yes. That's...
they traveled the world, as you know. They traveled the world. They taught, overseas in many communities where education was not the norm and was lacking. Passion, sticking with it, believing in yourself, committing, always doing everything you can in the moment you're in to make the world a little bit better, the world that you're touching at least. Yeah. I wish I had, because I don't want to sound like it's like...
Yes, it's not blue and black. It's white and black, right?
I just don't give up. Just believe and keep fighting and looking for those opportunities. And And it is possible. That's the amazing part.
It is possible.
So
I had conversations with some grad students before I started the main interview about questions they would love me to ask. And the first one is, if you were not in academia, what do you think you would be doing?
Oh, so many things.
Yeah, I think so too.
No problem at all. We got ideas. I mean, I'm still torn. I still want to do my farm where I'm growing things and
an hydroponic.
I know, and we have growing things outside, and so I'd love to do a farm where I'm growing things and I'm bringing people in, where they get to put their hands in the soil and they get to learn. So it's still going to be the learning, even though it's not in academia. I would love to do that.
The other question that somebody asked is, who are the people, and that was Marisa, that who are the people who, to double barrel question, who encouraged people to start in academia and those who encouraged them to continue? I can tell that your parents were a big part of your journey to start, but you don't agree? Okay, let me just let you answer the question. Who are those that encourages you when you encouraged you when you were trying to get into PhD and academia, and then those who continue to encourage you now? And doesn't mean formally encourage you, but looking at them and just feeling encouraged and motivated and wanting to go on.
Okay, actually, I would say the person who encouraged me most to get into academia was actually Dr. Haldeman. Was my mentor. Yeah, I remember the first meal we sat down for the interview when I came to look at the program. That was the very beginning of this is okay. I'm gonna. I mean, at the same time, I came in with this is what I want to do. So I don't know. Some of that's internal, and to have somebody who says, okay, well, let's we can help you get there. My parents, I think, supported me with whatever I wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was no pressure of you need to do this to be successful, or you need to do this to. So I wouldn't actually say that came from that side.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of continuing, for me, that's easy. Also, because that's that multi-state team that I was talking about. Yeah. Those friends, and not just the multi-state. There are other people who, especially through SNAB, who I meet every year. Maybe it's just at conference, and then or I see on Zoom when we're talking. But they're my friends who are going through the same things at the same time. Having that group of people who understand your life in a way that other people cannot. And those are the people who are gonna, they're gonna help you get through. Funny story. Dr. Carla Shelnut, like I mentioned, who I love and dearly, and she's amazing. She loves she loves cupcakes. So I'm not sure, but she always used to say we were going to run away and start a donut shop. Was our thing before tenure. So it's those people that like we're going to be okay. We got this. That you just want around you that are going to help you.
That's very good. That's very good. The other question we had was somebody asking about mental health right now in our again the younger generation. This is a very more pronounced and more it's something that's getting more attention than before. So what was it like when you earlier started and your PhD? Was it something that people talked very well about versus now? What would you say about the conversation around mental health in that across generations, especially in academia?
Yeah, that is fascinating. I definitely think it was not something that was talked about, not necessarily because it was hidden. I mean, for some people it may have been, but just less acknowledged or understood. I think maybe to a certain extent, it was this idea that you have up times and you have down times, and that's just in everything. It was okay. But I think there were probably always a lot of people that were suffering more than we knew. That by not having it part of the more mainstream conversation, it wasn't as acknowledged, and that's definitely a problem. But it's hard to know how much of that, because it definitely feels like there's more of a problem, now than there was. And again, it's hard to know. Is it because we're more aware of it, and we're more open to discussing it? Definitely. But also maybe some of the ways we're living, that technology. And it's such a shift. And anytime you're going through these times of transition, new things emerge that, from going from the pandemic where you have people who are isolated, and then you have so many people who are growing up online.
Yeah.
And both that social media side that we understand how much toxic things can happen with that, but also just developing relationships and experiences and friendships, and then that loneliness being such a problem. So in academia, I think one of the things, this is an area that I think they still have a lot of growth needed, that there are many other companies and businesses that have embraced, mental health and wellness more actively, I think. I don't think they have as much focus as they probably need on mental health in academia, because it's still in that mindset of push, 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 and everybody should be there, like, to the grind, and am I going to make it to tenure, and am I going to make it? It's all pretend. Like, all of it, it's just pretend. So letting go of that mindset, and I personally think the people you get in academia are the people who are going to be pushing themselves anyway. They're the people who want to be, they want to achieve, they want to do more, they want to reach that amazing goal. And so I don't think we need negative, the stick or the carrot. I don't think we need that kind of environment to push those people. And I think we're breaking more than we're helping push forward. So I think academia probably has a lot of growth and could happen in the next few years. You never know. Where we look more at that work-life balance and that mental health. And so I think it's something that your generation can help build.
Thank you.
So I look forward to seeing, I think it's going to change. I do.
For that. Somebody asked the question. She loves to teach. She's in a PhD in what's that called again? Creative writing.
Oh, neat.
But she said that sometimes she wakes up and she doesn't just want to teach. She doesn't feel like it's what she loves anymore. So she wonders, does this happen to everybody? Or is it a sign that I need to change what I'm doing? I need to leave? So our question is, when do you know it's time to leave?
That's a great question.
Yeah, and how
You're
do you know?
not trying to say something, right?
No. Oh, no, I'm not trying to say something. No. And how do you know it's not time to leave? Maybe it's just time to, refresh yourself, So what do you think about that?
So I think initially the first steps are to fake it.
Just try to.
Because sometimes you wake up and you're like, I cannot stand. I can't
get
do
up
this.
out
I
of bed.
cannot. I'm not. And if you can get yourself there,
Try.
and then you in a classroom, and this is the difference also the online versus the but you get yourself with people and interacting. All of a sudden it hits and it's on again and it's good and it, and everything hits right, and it's when you feel energized afterwards. So it was just getting there. So that's that first step. Test it out, fake it, pretend. And then if by the end,
exercise, it works. Just get up and do something, and you'll be fine.
And then all of a sudden you're doing it and it feels great. So try that first. Try that a couple times and see if that's what's going on, right? And of course there can be other things that you can be doing. We can always be healthier. How's your sleep? Are you look at your habits, test out all those things first. Then that next stage is that refresh that you're talking about. So maybe there's something, it's a creative outlet that you're not spending time doing. So maybe if you love poetry, or if you love making mosaics, or if you love growing things, or if you love singing, 1,000 things, singing.
Going to the movies,
take time to do that activity that feels indulgent, because you've got all these things that are behind, right? And so how am I stopping this and just doing this for myself? But then you fill up, and then this all feels doable. So that's that next thing you can test out, to where you're not blowing up your world. You're just taking a break, and and then seeing if it comes back together. And then if that doesn't work, then do the next one that's bigger. And sometimes taking those toes out, and making those small steps and seeing if that's what you need. So it is the sabbatical, or I'm taking months off and I'm trying something completely different. But then it also is important to understand that it's okay to think completely out of the box and do something that's scary, and it be okay. I will, without mentioning the people, when I first started after my PhD, I started off as a senior nutrition research scientist with USDA. And I actually had some postdocs who had more experience working with me, but I didn't have a postdoc. It's very strange. And I swear we became really good friends because we were the same age, and there was still a little bit of that, this is the person's technically a boss kind of, but it was all good. It was good. So anyway, we talked. And for one of them, their dream had always been to work with animals and animal nutrition. So that's not their degree specifically, but that's what they wanted to do. Do it.
Yeah.
So this person applied and became the nutritionist for a major zoo in the U.S. and has been doing that now for, I think, 20 years.
Without a degree?
Well, they had a PhD in nutrition, so that made
Human
it okay.
nutrition.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
So animal nutrition is much more complex. Different.
I'm aware, but I mean, you are a doctor. You apply. See, take that. Huge shift that seems like a dream. Yeah. But they did amazing career. So sometimes taking those, and the other person ended up working. They wanted to do criminal. What's it? The dead. Body farm, forensics. And so they wanted to go in forensics in the FBI.
With a nutrition degree. With
a PhD in nutrition. Okay. That's what they wanted to do. And they decided to do it. And they did great. Wow. That's a pretty big, that's not a right turn. That's a
360.
So I say these things about just do it, get up in the morning, see if you, but don't ignore that inner voice. If there's something telling you there's a different path, it's okay. It really, this is, take the different path, try it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So the final question from this chance, the last one is, what is the most significant change you've seen in yourself over the years, being in an academic space? If you've thought about that.
So I think the most significant change is this feeling as I go into this last chapter of life.
Yeah.
I think that's the weirdest transition. I think for a while I was already kind of going, okay, here's the torch. I'm really happy to be spreading this light as we do at UT, right? Yeah. And passing the torch on to so many people who then grow. So I mean, that legacy is beautiful. And as I move into this last chapter, and I still have all these ideas of things I want to do and this, but a little bit more forward thinking with all of the torch that's being passed on. I see that stronger now than I've ever seen that. I don't know if that's good or sad but it feels right.
Very reflective, like what does this mean? Where are they going to go with this and all that? Well, thank you so much. So we're at the end of the interview, but do you have something you'd like to say to encourage mostly graduate students who are going to be seeing this video? What's just any word? Just say
I do. So my he's going to love this. My favorite thing is this. Here, do this. This is, you are the example of everything that I'm saying right now. That yes, you following your dream, you're following that hearing that voice, doing so many amazing things. So in reality, you're the aspiration that I think they should look for.
Thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me. Because one thing I told Dr. Odoi, is that I was in the lab that allowed me to do GSS. If not, I wouldn't be able to do. People who really want to engage at GSS, but some of them had advice or literally told them, no, you can't. And there are someone who okay, this person would not be happy because I think I don't have enough time. And so thank you so much for giving us the time. I really appreciate, working with you so far. And I'm very sure that, there's just so much more, that we're going to do even outside here, because you have strengthened us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. As we move on, I will ask that you continue to engage. So please do not just watch the videos, like, comment, and subscribe.